So with that, I will add my donation after the meeting, and I'll introduce our day chair, Jim Nelson, who is subbing in for Addie in such a Rotarian move. She couldn't do it. And so Jim said, she's a new member and he didn't know her, but he popped in anyway to say, I want to help out this new member and sub in for day chair. Jim joined Minneapolis City of Lakes Rotary Club in 1999. He served as club president in 2009 to 2010. Then as district governor for Rotary District 5950 in 2014-15, and foundation chair in 2016 through 2018. Jim has also been active in Rotary water and sanitation projects in Honduras, and currently serving on our City of Lakes board as a district liaison, in addition to supporting current district governor Julie Grape with a district membership initiative. Jim and his wife, Ellen, who's also Rotarian, live in Edina. They have 3 grown kids and 6 grandkids. Their family has served as host parents to 3 Rotary Youth Exchange students from New Zealand, South Africa, and Japan. Jim practiced law for 43 years, the last 32 of those with a Minneapolis firm of Briggs and Morgan, where he specialized in commercial real estate. And his retirement activities include Rotary, volunteering with the Minnesota Historical Society, and serving on the Edina Community Foundation Board. Thank you, Jim, for being our day chair today. Take it away.
Thank you, Jean. Jean skipped some of the biography, which I provided her, which included matriculating at St. Mary's grade school and kindergarten. And I had a lot of detail, but we wouldn't have time to do all that, I guess. So it's my privilege to introduce David Fhima this morning. David is, anybody who follows the Minneapolis restaurant scene at all certainly knows the name of David Fhima. He was, what an interesting life. Born in Casablanca, Morocco. He moved to the United States slightly over 40 years ago. His studies, as well as his love and passion for food, have taken him from Casablanca to London, Paris, Geneva, and Los Angeles. And finally, he's home where he belongs in Minneapolis. David is the founder and executive chef at Fhimas Minneapolis, which describes itself as a restaurant that offers a modern take on French Moroccan cuisine and using the highest quality ingredients in partnership with Minnesota and local farmers. He also is the founder of Maison Margot in the North Loop and the Mother Dough Bakery in downtown Minneapolis, where he uses a 130-year-old sourdough starter. That's probably a different talk that he's going to give us today, but it would be an interesting one, David. So this is one busy guy, and we're really lucky to have him give his take on the hospitality industry today. Please welcome David.
Wow, welcome. Thank you so much. I am really privileged to be here with you. I'm privileged to be living in this amazing city and doing this work. I don't know, had I known you were with the Minnesota Historical Society, I would have asked for some advice on that historic North Loop building that we built, the Ribnick Fur building where Maison Margot is, which was an incredible project. Food is what I do. Food is what we live and breathe all the time. People is how we get our energy, and we do it all in this incredible city. I moved here in mid-90s, really not knowing. I honestly never even heard of Minnesota as a state. I mean, I lived in LA in California and in that little bubble, and we had a restaurant there. And Minnesota opened so many horizons and so many incredible and wonderful views of the world. It also humbled me also has been a place of wonderful, I call it, Minnesota was my boxing ring, where I got to be able to throw some good punches, receive many, many more, and throw it, stay in that ring and create a success, or a continued work. You know, like my dad said, success happens, and you can really know if you're successful once you meet your maker. Until then, you are work in progress. So we are work in progress, but we're excited to be doing this work in Minneapolis. So I appreciate the introduction, Jim. It's like I said, it's humbling to be amongst you, and excited to talk to you a little bit about what we do and answer any questions. But yeah, so we can start there. It's
How are you kind of looking for questions at this point, David?
no.
Or-
My biggest point about this morning, I'm a huge advocate for our city and for our state. I'm a little bit defensive about it. I mean, think about it. You have these little mutt from Morocco, France, Spain, and Italy advocating for the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis. I think it's a pretty good story, because for people who have lived here all their lives, you have one perspective. For the people who are, even though I've been here for a little bit over 37 years, I'm still discovering this state and learning about this state. I came to the US and I made a life for myself and raised a family, starting in Los Angeles initially, where I met my first wife, who happens to be from Minneapolis, which is how I left Los Angeles and came to Minneapolis. The story requires more than just coffee in the morning, requires some hard liquor, but we can do that story a different day. But it's a good story. An amazing woman. Our marriage, I moved here to follow her. Our marriage didn't work. Wind up staying. And I lived in LA during the Rodney King trial and subsequent riots, where my restaurant was in the midst of it all, and it was devastating for our industry back then. It was hard for our country, and moved to Minnesota, survived the 2008-2009 crash. And then here we go again, COVID, and which took our world by storm, but more, it took our city by storm because of all the unrest that subsequently was part of it. During the initial part of COVID, where we thought, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We're about to go bankrupt. We had food in the refrigerators, and we started talking to other restaurants as well. Let's just give it away. So we started making meals for the community and created a Minnesota Central Kitchen, which is now called Kitchen Coalition, which is now a much bigger group that we are not heading, that we're part of, headed by Second Harvest. And during that time, while we were doing that, then the unrest that followed the George Floyd murder, and our restaurant, which is a historical restaurant on Hennepin and 7th, it's one of the most beautiful Art Deco buildings in the country, which we are really privileged to be the caretakers of, has such an incredible history, having been a soup kitchen, haven't been a disco, haven't been a fine dining restaurant, Goodfellows, haven't been a foro, haven't been a forum cafeteria, and here we are, a French Moroccan cuisine. And in that restaurant, if you think about it, how life comes full circle, which used to be a soup kitchen, during COVID, it was literally a soup kitchen all over again. We were distributing food to the communities. It chagrins me a little bit to live in the greatest country on earth, and that they steal this food insecurity. But that's a different conversation for a different day, or maybe today a little bit too. And as we're being part of it, our restaurant got hit by the unrests. It was almost burned down. We survived that. And then this chip came on my shoulders, where people saying how bad Minneapolis was, how terrible people were, how much injustice. And although there's a lot of issues that we have, and I lived in, as you said, Jim, in many wonderful cities around the world, we're no different from any downtown that has all of its issues. But we have an incredible theater district, an incredible entertainment district, an incredible sports scene, which I'm part of. And we said, hey, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, we're food people. How can we, in the world of food, change this perception that people have about our city? And also how to be part of a change that is really not a perception, that is reality, that we have social injustice issues that we need to be part of. And so we said, okay, let's figure out how to open the next restaurant and do this better and be much more socially conscious, hire people from marginalized communities who usually are neglected. And if you think about food, the more you go where culture thrives, the better the food is. No offense to Norwegians and Scandinavians, but you go to this because these are the communities that sit down at a table, share their day, share their stories around the plate, argue about the plate. I mean, I'm one of 17 brothers and sisters, and yeah, I know, I see the look on your face, and I never had that look on my face. I thought it was normal. It was, I thought it was weird to go to a house where there's only 2 people in it. And so surrounded by food and surrounded by people is what I lived and breathed all my life. And surrounded by sharing that with people is what I lived and breathed all my life. And wanted Minneapolis to be that part of the story, that we have an incredible food scene, incredible chefs. We have an incredible story. We have incredible people that do all that work all the time. And yes, we have all of these issues, but we are also, there is also a part of our story it's not being told. And we wanted to carry that flag and say, hey, look at us. We're really a lot better, and I'll say it, than Los Angeles, than New York, and then Paris, in out that there is a passion, there is a Minnesota generosity that lives in this community of restaurants. You will go to any fundraiser, you will go to any charity, and there are restaurants at the forefront donating chef's tables, donating their times. And it's unique to our city. Yeah, a lot of cities do it, but I think we do it relatively a lot more than other. And we wanted to tell that story. We wanted to tell the story of restaurants that hire people from all walks of life and share and tell their story. And that's the restaurant Margot, Maison Margot, that we opened in the North Loop, which is the old Ribnick fur building, 140-year-old basement that never had anything done to it. My wife would not even go and look at it. She didn't go, are you sure you want to do this? Who in their right minds is about to go bankrupt during COVID and says, well, let's open a restaurant and let's do this better. Well, us, and we're proud of that. We're proud of having learned from this community and having been embraced in this community and giving back to it and being part of this new movement of new breed of chefs. I'm old, I don't call myself a new breed of chefs, but there are many who work with me who are younger, who are a much more in tune with how the restaurant scene should be. And there is a change happening in our industry that is leading first socially. Yes, downtown is not as busy as it used to be. And for those of you who are not back to work and who do a lot of Zooms, get back to downtown. Go grab that cup of coffee and that croissant. And even if it's 20 minutes, your energy is amazing. As you see people walking the streets on those days where people are back downtown on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you can feel it. You can feel people feeding off of it. COVID has hit our industry and has hit businesses really, really hard, and that has changed a lot. We have changed. Our industries have changed. Listen, I've never had a Friday or Saturday night off for 35 plus years, 40 years. And all of a sudden during COVID, to have them back to back to back, I'll be the first one to tell you, it was amazing to be with the family and doing those talk dances with my daughters and sourdoughs. I'm ashamed to say that I was part of that sourdough craze. Ours was really good though. And you talk about the 130-year-old sourdough. I came to this country with $100 in my pocket and a little jar of starter dough. When I came to LA, and the gentleman at the immigration goes, "What is this?" And with my broken English, I say, "Hey, I need water because if I don't feed it, it's gonna die." And that was pre 9/11, where you could bring something that's moving and bubbling, and it was safe. Now you bring your toothpaste and they ask you 101 questions. The world has changed. I think some of it for the better. Our industry has changed, and really all for the better. We are better at understanding the balance that our staff needs to have. We pay higher wages, even though we cannot afford it, but we understand you got to do the hard thing, and it will become easier. We offer healthcare, which is something that's unheard of in our industry, and we find a way to afford it. We hire people. We've in the BIPOC community that are making our industry better. Our industry has changed, not that it is balanced, because it's crazy. You cannot be balanced. Who in their right minds want to work at night all the time? I mean, it's just crazy. But it takes a different breed of people. But we found a harmonious world where we are taking turns working at night, where we're not all the same, all of us doing it all the time. We are also have created an environment where people feel safer working in the restaurant industry, because we're not closing at 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. We're closing our kitchen earlier. We have found a way to say we are and we want to be of service. And this is the big, big, big change. But we're not servants, and we are educating the public at large. When you go to a restaurant, be kind. Understand that the job that we had to create an experience for you, to make incredible food for you, you have a responsibility in that, in appreciating that world that you are going to be in for 2 hours, and appreciating the staff that's doing that. We're much more mindful of that. Back in the 80s, 90s, and the year 2000, I would tell my staff, there's no such thing as no in our industry. Well, there is such a thing as a no in our industry. Because we cannot do it all, and it creates tremendous amount of pressure on the staff to feel like everything is yes, 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 because it's not possible. It's not doable. You have a restaurant that's full of 200, 300 people, and somebody wants something that is not on the menu, not available. They need to understand, well, it's not possible. We would love to make you happy, but we just don't have it. We are trying to change how the guests are understanding service to be, and we want to be part of that movement. There is a partnership that needs to happen between the server and the servee in understanding we have a deal. You're going to sit down and we're going to wine you and dine you, and you're going to make that person who is 22 years old, 24 years old, paying, going through college, taking 2 jobs, feeling really good about themselves. And we are no longer saying, okay, you're the guests and you're right all the time. That is bad. That is not good. That's how our restaurant business has changed. I think that's good for us. I go to restaurants. We all go to restaurants. And we all want to look at a restaurant as this place of privilege. I think food is a right. We have a right to eat well. We have a right to have good health care. We have a right to good education. But going to a restaurant and paying for a great meal, it's a privilege that we have as people. And it's also a privilege to serve those people. And it's these 2 privileges meeting together. And out of COVID came this understanding that we have, that we're going to understand and make each other feel good, but not when one person comes out of an experience feeling great and the other one doesn't, neither has gotten a good experience. I promise you that. But when both, I have servers coming to me all the time and going, chef, this table is amazing. And I have guests going, this stuff you have is amazing. That's what makes me feel good. When both don't. So COVID really changed that. Our city has been really, because of what happened with the George Floyd and the social movement, has changed how we see service. It has changed how we perceive service to be, which is really an amazing movement. And we are committed to not letting go of that and keeping that change alive and making it a norm, not the exception anymore. So I think I've said to you a lot. I've said the one thing that I really want to emphasize is this. Downtown Minneapolis, and I don't know where everybody lives on the Zoom, is the heartbeat and the soul of our state. It's as it goes, so will the rest of the state go. Don't be fooled into thinking for a minute, oh, it's a problem there, security is out here. We need to be part of the solution and how to help bring it back. All of us that you live in Lakeville, Edina, Indian Prairie, and I know all the suburbs now really well, which is awesome. We have to be part of reinvigorating the city. And I promise you, the better downtown gets, the better our state is. So with that said, thank you so much for having me on this amazing call and this amazing group of people. You are the one who are doing the change, the part of the change. I am here as your guest and happy to answer any questions, or if there's something that you need to know about our industry that I haven't covered, I'll try and answer that.
David, this is Jim Eaton. Can I ask a question?
Please.
I am very familiar with the need for quality people for your business. And one of the things I've been fascinated by is an organization in Cleveland called Edwin's. That's created literally a university for ex-offenders coming out of incarceration, where they provide a whole year-long experience that leads them into your business. And on a miniature version of that, I think All Square in the Twins in Minneapolis does something similar. Have you and other leaders like you and Gavin Kaysen and others that represent this community that you represent thought about really putting your resources and ideas together for something significant that would help this element of at-risk people coming that might be really orchestrated into your industry?
Well, this is an incredibly good and important question, and really something that we are very close to. The project that we have opened the last couple of months in the North Loop, Maison Margot, has been founded on this idea that you're just talking about. Not only about how to go and hire people from marginalized people who have been forgotten, people from the BIPOC community, people who can add culture, but people who are troubled, who have had. We do a background check and then we throw it away. We want to know about you, and then we meet with you and we talk to you. Our success rate is very, very small. But when, and hear me right here, but when we are successful, we find a jewel unlike any jewel you've ever seen. And that is worth all the failures in doing it the wrong way. It's worth all of those failures. So how do we do that? We partner with many, many, many foundations, including the Sane Foundation. And we get us the people, we try them out. We have what's called a stage. We are huge believers in that. My dad used to have a lot of conversations with us as kids, but one of them that have always stuck in my mind is around good food, bad people become better. And it always, always, always stayed with me, always. And I think that politicians, before in Congress, before they go out there and criticize each other, should sit down with each other around a scotch and some almonds. Simple. And I promise you, compromise is found. There's something that happens around food that makes us all better. We become a little bit more vulnerable. Our humanity is exposed. And that is true when you are hiring people who have been troubled. I have children. Some of them have had their issues, and I want them to go to an employer who looks at them not because of their past, but looks at them because of the future they promise, and because they're trying. Anybody who walks through your door trying to change their life is somebody that you need to talk to, somebody. So we are firmly believing in that, and firmly are part of an organized movement. I haven't talked to Gavin or other chefs about it, but thank you for bringing that up. We should form a group that shares ideas and shares staff and shares. I'm a big believer in that, but we are doing a lot of that work, and I know other restaurants are doing a lot of that work and are partnering with many nonprofits who hire a lot of incarcerated people and tries to be part of their rehabilitation program?
Thanks for that great question, Jim. That took us in a little different direction, but an important direction. So thank you for that. We are kind of running out of time, but I did want to say that I really urge you all to go on the websites for Maison Margot and as well as David Fhimas Minneapolis. On the Maison Margot site, if the food doesn't entice you, and it will, their Fhima family mission statement will. Those of you who are, and we all are, dedicated to service in our community. It's a really inspiring mission statement about their promise to the community, and they're working with marginalized people and devotion to helping with food insecurity and so forth. It's really a great mission statement. If I had more time, I'd read the whole thing, but we are out of time. But David, as a speaker gift, we are going to mail you a book which we're actually going to donate to Way to Grow, which is a program for at-risk third graders. We give them a book to have for their very own. For many of them, it's their first book that they actually own themselves. We're going to ask you to sign that book as one of our community leaders, and then we will donate it to Way to Grow. And then an extra special treat, we're going to send you a City of Lakes Rotary pen with your name on it. And
I love it.
for you to keep and cherish. And so thank you very much for a wonderful, inspiring talk and for everything you're doing for the community. Really great. So I'm going to turn it back to Jean.
So again, thank you so much, David. It's been so inspiring and wonderful to hear you. And I just will say thank you to everybody who had a part in the meeting today. Mark Mosman, Jim Nelson, of course, Hugh, and I think that's it. Along with our guests, we're delighted to have Sydney and Kevin and Jasmina with us. Please come back. We would love to see you again. And next week, we have the University of Minnesota Vice President for Research with us. The week after that, there is no meeting because we will have the summer picnic the next day. And so we will see you at one of those and go out and have a great Rotary week as Jim inspired us to start our meeting. Thank you so much, everyone.